Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we will discuss one more critical reasoning exercise that is helpful for you in developing the skills required for cracking the VRC section of CAT and the verbal ability sections of other management entrance examinations. So we'll straight away move to the questions. This is the question number 1. All right. So the passage is giving us the condition in which or condition by which the income tax department selects people whose income tax returns have to be audited. So as per the passage, any person who has filed an income tax return and who has been audited since 2015 and where no mistakes are found in that audit, they are least likely to be audited. So the condition is that any person who has already been audited since the year 2015 and whose returns are perfect, there are no mistakes, such persons are not likely to be audited. And your question is to find the statement which is indicating the person who are most likely to be audited. So we are given the condition for least likelihood of audit. We have to find a statement which is containing persons who are most likely to be audited. So from the condition itself, we can see which kind of persons are most likely to be audited. So from the condition, any person who has not been audited or who has been audited before 2015. So anybody who has been audited after 2015 and whose returns are found perfect, they will not be audited. Means any person who has been audited before 2015 or anybody who has been audited after 2015 and whose returns are were having some mistakes, such kind of persons are most likely to be audited. So again I repeat, persons who have been not been audited since who have not been audited before 2015 means, oh sorry, the persons who have been audited before 2015 are likely to be audited, and the persons who are audited after 2015 and whose returns are having some mistakes, they are also likely to be audited. So these are the two kind of people who are likely to be audited. So once you find that condition, then your answer becomes very simple. Option A, person who was audited in 2016 but was not found to have made any mistakes. So such kind of persons are not going to be audited. So because they are least likely to be audited, a person who has been audited after 2015, this is 2016, right? And whose returns are having no mistakes. So here also no mistakes. So such persons are least likely to be audited. So as a result of which, this is not our answer because this kind of persons are least likely to be audited. Now, option B, a person who was audited in 2016 and whose chartered accountant corrected several mistakes in the tax return prior to the filing deadline. Means this person was also audited after 2015, but his returns had certain errors, but those errors were found out by his chartered accountant before the filing deadline. So they were corrected before the filing deadline. Here the condition is that any tax return which were found to have made no mistakes in filing their returns. So at the time of filing the returns, if the tax return is not having any mistake, such persons are least likely to be audited. So here also there were mistakes, but they were found out by the chartered accountant prior to the filing. Means in before filing, these mistakes were found out and rectified. Means the return did not have any mistakes at the time of filing. So such persons are again not likely to be audited. Option C, a person whose spouse was convicted of tax fraud in 2017, who was then audited. Who means this person, not the spouse. So the who refers to the person whose spouse was convicted of tax fraud. So who was audited, then audited means who was then audited in 2010. So the when his spouse was convicted of tax fraud in 2017, this person was audited again in 2017, and his return was found to have no mistakes. Again, this comes in this category, a person who has been audited since 2015 and returns having no mistakes. So such persons are least likely to be audited. So this also is also out of the question. Now, option D, a person who was last audited in 2014 and had no mistakes uncovered by the IT department during the audit. So here the problem is that this person was audited in 2014. As per our condition, anybody who has been audited after 2015, they are least likely to be audited. So any person who was audited before 2015 are likely to be audited. So here this person was audited in 2014 and his return did not have any mistakes. That is true, but he was audited since before 2015. So this person is likely to be audited. So this could be your answer. Keep it in your mind. Option E, a person who was audited in each of the past 5 years and what was found to have made no mistakes in any of the filings. So this person was continuously audited in the past 5 years means we are talking about a year. We are talking we are likely to be we are definitely we are in a year which is after 2015. The present year we know it is 2025, but even if it is not 2025, we can say that we are talking about a year which is after 2015. So any person who has been audited in the past 5 years means he would definitely have been audited after 2015. So and the return was not having no mistakes. So again, such a person is least likely to be audited. So only person who is most likely to be audited is this person who was last audited in 2014. Even though his return was not having any mistakes, he would still be audited. So this is your answer. All right. The next question. First, understand the passage. What the passage is, whenever there is a major airplane disaster or an airline accident, what will happen? There will be a lot of focus on the airline industry after that. And because of the increased focus on the airline industry, each and every minute accident that happens in the airline industry after a major accident, it gets reported because there is a lot of renewed publicity because of the major accident that occurred, because of the gruesomeness of the accident, because all airline accidents are gruesome. Gruesome means very severe, very horrible. Why? Most of the passengers involved in an airline accident dies. There is very small likelihood of any survivors. So that is why these airline accidents, if and when it happens, they are gruesome or horrible. So because of the horrible nature of the airline accidents, whenever any such accident occurs, there will be a lot of media attention on the airline industry. Lot of any minor issue in the airline industry or any minor accident or any routine thing that is generally unreported, that does not generally merit any attention from the news sources, they are attended or they are given a lot of publicity, as a result of which there is a increase in the number of accidents reported by the channels. This is what the airline officials are saying. So the airline officials are saying that the increase in the number of accidents reported by the news channels after a major air accident is not because of the actual increase in the number of accidents. It is only because of the increased media attention on the airline industry. This is what the passage is claiming. So once again, I will repeat, the passage claims that or the airline industry officials are claiming that the increase in the number of accidents reported in the news channels after a major air accident is only because of the increased media attention on the airline industry. It is not because of the any actual increase in the number of accidents reported. This is what the passage is claiming. And now what is your question? Your question is to find a statement that weakens the assertion. The assertion means weakens the argument of the airline officials. So what would weaken the argument of the airline officials? Any statement that states that the number of, there is an actual increase in the number of airline accidents. It is not because of the media, increased media attention, that the number of accidents are higher or reported accidents are higher. So any statement that gives the idea that actually there is a increase in the number of air accidents which is why media is reporting them. It is not because of the increased media attention, as a result of which even minor issues which would otherwise have not been reported are getting reported. So this is the option you are looking for. Option A, the publicity surrounding the airline accidents is largely limited to the country in which the crash occurred. See, the passage is not talking about any particular country. The passage is talking about in general. So when we talk about a particular country, that is not going to be relevant to us. But even if it is relevant, let us say this, we are talking about a particular country in this passage. So the publicity is limited to that country. All right, we can accept that. Even then, what will happen? Does it say that there is actually an increase in the number of accidents reported? No, it does not say. It is saying that the publicity surrounding the airline accidents is limited to the country in which the crash occurred. Means yes, the publicity may be limited to that particular country, but even in that particular country, the number of accidents reported are getting higher, but that does not mean that the number of actual accidents are increasing. So that is why this option is not going to weaken the argument. We need a statement which proves or which hints that there is an actual increase in the number of accidents. It is not because of media reporting each and every minor incident. So this is why this is not a correct answer. Option B, airline accidents tend to occur far more often during certain peak travel months. So what is happening here? It says that during when the travel season is at its peak during holidays or vacation periods and all, what will happen? There will be more air travel. So more air travel means more airline operating. More airlines operating means more likelihood of accidents. So this is why option B says that there will be more airline accidents occurring during the certain peak travel months. So this option is saying that there is an actual increase in the number of airline accidents occurring during certain months. So this particular disaster might have occurred in that during those particular peak travel months, and after that, since the number of aircrafts operating during those months are higher, there might be an increase in the number of accidents. So this option is telling us that this number increase in the number of accidents is not because of the media highlighting or exaggerating even minor issues. It is actually because there is an increase in the accidents because there is increase in the number of airlines operating in the peak travel months. So this is a probable answer which weakens of the airline officials assumption. So this could be your answer. Keep it in your mind. Option C, news organizations do not have any guidelines to help them decide how severe or how close an accident must be for it to receive coverage. Means there is no standard criteria on the basis of which news organizations are able to decide which accident to be reported, which accident to be ignored. There is no such standard criteria. So what is the meaning? If there is no standard criteria, the news organizations will report all major minor issues that are happening in the airline industry after a major accident, as a result of which there will be more and more accidents being reported. So what is happening? This option is actually supporting the statement given by the airline officials, because the airline officials are also saying the same thing. There is no actual increase. It is only because media organizations are reporting each and every minor issue. So this is a statement that supports the airline officials assumptions. We need something that weakens. So that is why this is not our answer. Option D, airplane accidents receive coverage by news sources only when the news sources find it advantageous to do so. So it is talking about why news sources are reporting such things. Why are they reporting? Because a major accident has occurred. So anything that is of news value, they will report. So this again is indirectly supporting the claim by the airline officials that the news agencies or the media is unnecessarily giving hype to the small events or the small minor issues that happen in the airline industry. It is not because of any major increase in the number of accidents. So this is again something that indirectly supports the claim by the airline officials. So not our answer. Option E, studies by government regulation show that the number of airplane flight miles remain relatively constant from month to month. What is airplane flight miles? Number of miles covered by airplanes in total is called airplane flight miles. The number of that is calculated by multiplying the number of airplanes operating into the number of miles traveled by each airplane, that is airplane flight miles. So airplane flight miles remaining constant from month to month means what? There is no increase in the air travel during from one month to month. So means the air travel or the volume of the air travel remains constant from month to month. So if the volume of air travel remains constant from month to month, what will happen generally? Number of accidents also should remain constant. So generally that is the thing, because there will be an average in everything. So even for airline accidents there is an average, means if the number of average is calculated by number of accidents occurring divided by number of airplane flight miles. So if the denominator remains constant and the when you and that fraction is also constant, means the numerator also should remain constant. So that means the number of accidents are not actually increasing. So the number of there is no actually, if the number of airplane for flight miles remain relatively constant, then that means there is no generally there is no increase in the number of airplane accidents. So even if there is an increase, this sentence by itself does not indicate that there is going to be an increase in the number of accidents. What is the only possibility when the number of accidents can increase? When the number of flight miles increases, or the airplane, the number of frequency of the number and the frequency of airplanes operating increases, means when the volume increases there is more chances of error. That is why option B becomes a likely answer. Option E is only talking about flight miles remaining constant, means generally the accidents also will remain constant, so that the average is maintained at the same level. So only in exceptional circumstances this will change. So we are not given any data regarding any exceptional circumstance, so that is why this we need not consider. So our only thing that weakens the argument by the airline official is this one, where it says that during certain travel months the travel frequency peaks, means the airplane flight miles are increasing, number of airlines operating will increase, the miles traveled by each airplane is also increasing. So when there is increased volume, there is a likelihood of more accidents. So that is why this option indicates that the number of accidents reported being more is not because of media hype, it is because of the number of more airlines operating and the number of kilometers traveled by each airline becoming increasing, so that there is a likelihood of more accidents. So that is why option B very clearly weakens the claim by the airline officials. All other options are not weakening the claim, so option B will be your answer. I hope this is clear. All right, now go to the next question. So here, please read the paragraph, then we will discuss. So this passage is giving us some investment advice. What it says, it is better to invest in the real estate industry now because it will be profitable. Why it says that? Because it is talking about a survey done in House magazine. This see House, where H is given in capital letter, means it is the name of a particular magazine, and from the name of the magazine you can see that it is talking, this magazine will be exclusively focusing on homes and real estate and people interested in buying homes and all those kind of things. And the survey done in this magazine revealed that 80% of the magazine's readers are interested in buying a second home. So they are already having a house and they are planning to buy a second home. So 80% of the readers of this magazine want to buy a second home. And another study by the real estate industry is revealing that the current supply of homes could only provide for 60% of that demand each year. So it is saying that 80 percentage of the magazine's readers want to purchase a second house, whereas the real estate industry is saying that the demand can be met only up to 60 percentage. Means there is a demand supply gap, because 80 percentage, or out of 100 people who are reading the magazine, 80 people want to purchase a house, but only 60 homes can be provided by the real estate industry. So there is a demand supply gap. So when there is a demand supply gap, what is going to happen? There is more demand, less supply. So what is you have a opportunity or a business opportunity. That is why the passage is that you invest in real estate, you will be able to make profits, because houses are in short supply, demand is more, so people will be willing to pay more to purchase or get a house, because the houses are in short supply. So this is the meaning. Now, which of the following, if true, reveals a weakness in the evidence cited above? So what is the weakness in the evidence or the facts given that makes this assumption, or this makes this inference a wrong inference? So what is the weakness in the facts? See, a careful reading of the passage will give you the weakness in the fact. What is the weakness? See, here 80 percentage of the magazine's readers are planning to buy a house over the next few years. So they are not really planning to buy a house immediately or the next year. Their plan is to buy a house over the next few years. Whereas the real estate industry survey shows that a current supply of could only provide for 60 percentage of that demand each year that demand. So whatever demand, that demand means the demand generated by the readers of the magazine survey. So 60 percentage of that demand can be met by the real estate industry each year. So here we are talking about, let's say 100 people are reading the house magazine, 80 people are planning to buy a second home over the next few years, whereas the real estate industry can provide for 60 homes each year. That demand means the out of 60 percentage of this demand, 60 percentage of 80 means 48 houses. 48 houses could be provided by the real estate industry every year. So only if all the people, all the 80 people want to buy the second home next year, there is a problem, because only 48 homes will be available at that time. Because 100 people are reading the magazine, 80 people want to purchase a second home, whereas 48 homes can be provided in the next year. Whereas if out of these 80 people, let's say some 40 people only want to purchase the home next year, another 40 people want to purchase home then year after the next year, what will happen? There is no demand supply gap, because every year 48 houses are being built, right? So 48 houses, here the demand is only for 40 houses, so there is a oversupply of 8 houses. The next year again, let's say 48 houses are there, but the demand will be maybe 30 or 40 or something like that. So that is why the magazine survey is talking about buying a second home over the next few years. It is not saying that immediately the next year, whereas the real estate industry is able to provide every year 60 percentage of that demand. So this is the weakness. So the weakness is regarding the number of people who want to purchase the second home next year. So that is not taken into consideration before giving the investment advice that you have to invest in real estate. So this is the weakness. Now once you understand that, we can easily go through the options and find out the answer. Real estate is a highly labor intensive business. That's not a weakness at all. It may be a highly labor intensive business, but if the demand is more than the supply, you are definitely going to make a profit investing in real estate. Whether it is real estate labor intensive or not is not going to affect your profit. Home builders are not evenly distributed across the country. It may be true, means some places home builders may be more, some places home builders may be less. So we are talking about the country as a whole. We are not talking about any specific areas in the country or specific locations in the country. This is not stated in the passage. So any extraneous information that is included in the discussion is not going to be relevant. We have discussed about this in the previous exercises. So this is again an extraneous thing about the country. We are not talking about the any particular area of the country. So this is why, on the whole, there is a short supply of homes. So as long as there is a short supply of homes in on the whole, if you purchase invest in real estate, you stand to make a profit. It is up to you to decide in which part of the country you need to invest. So that is up to you. So this again are not going to weaken the evidence. So not your answer. Readers of house magazine comprise a minuscule population of the portion of the total population. Means the population of the country may be 1,000, out of which 100 only may be reading house magazine, and of these 100 people, 80 people are purchasing to are planning to purchase a house. But our survey is talking about that demand. See, this is very, very important. The word that demand means the demand that is generated by the people who are reading the house magazine. So that is why, whether the other people are, or the people who are reading the magazine is less or more, is not relevant, as long as the real estate industry is not able to cater to the demand of the people reading the house magazine. So as per the passage, the real estate industry at present is not able to cater to the demand of the demand generated by the readers of the magazine. Even if the magazine readers are a very minor part of the population, it is still not able to meet the demand in a particular year. So that is why this option is also not a good option, that weakens the assertion or weakens the evidence. So you can ignore it. Readers of House magazine are more likely than most people to want second homes. Again, it says that readers of House magazine are more interested in buying second homes. The other population is not interested in buying second homes. Again, the same issue. Our discussion is only focused on the readers of the House magazine and the demand generated by those readers. So it is not talking about the total demand. If we are talking about the total demand from a country in a particular year, then this becomes relevant, because if the other people are not having any demand, only the readers of the house magazine are interested in purchasing second homes, then maybe the total supply will be exceeding the demand by the readers of the magazine. Then you can say that the investing will not be a good idea. But here our discussion is clearly saying that this in real estate industry at present is not able to cater to that demand, means the demand generated by the readers of house magazine. So even if they are more likely than most people to want second homes, again their demand will be high. The real estate industry is not going to meet that demand, so the investment is a good idea. So since this option also does not weaken the investment proposition, this is not your answer. Option A, readers of house magazine who didn't a second home are more likely to be discerning and patient in selecting one. What is the meaning? They will not be jumping into purchasing a house immediately when they are yes, they need a second home, but they are likely to be discerning, means choosy. They will be not be blindly purchasing a second home. They will be choosy. So they will have some specific requirements and they will be willing to wait. So what is the meaning? They will not be, all of them will not be going to purchase the house in the next year. They will be waiting. So this is very, very important. They are planning to buy a second home over the next few years. So if only if all the 80% of the people are going to purchase a house immediately the next year, then there is a demand supply gap. But if some of these 80% of the people, they are willing to wait, and for some years, maybe 1 year or 2 year or 3 years, what will happen? Then the real estate industry will be able to meet the demand generated by the people every year. So when the real estate industry is able to meet the demand generated by the readers of the house magazine every year, what will happen? There will not be any demand supply gap. So when there is no demand supply gap, there is no point in investing, because you will not be able to make a profit. The existing supply will be able to cater to the existing demand. So there is no attraction, or there is no incentive in investing in real estate. So this is why option E becomes a good answer, because the investment opportunity will arise only if all these 80% of the people are going to purchase the house immediately in the next year, whereas the demand cannot be met by the real estate industry. So that is why option E will be your correct answer. This again is a very complicated question, so a very minute understanding and very careful analysis is required to find the answer. So this is the skill you need to develop. Now again, fourth question, the same passage. So here only you only need to read the question. The passage remains the same. The which of the following if true would have undermined the validity of the investment advice in the paragraph. So why this investment advice is a wrong advice? Again the same thing. So only the only thing you have to understand is regarding this over the next few years and that each year. So once you understand that this investment advice is invalid, you can very clearly see that first. Then you can identify the option. Some homeowners are satisfied with only one home. We are discussing about people who need a second home. Whether some homeowners are satisfied with only one home, that is irrelevant, because we know that 80% people need a second home, whereas there is 60% can be met by that real estate industry. So this is irrelevant. This is not going to make the investment advice invalid. Option B, about half of the people who buy homes are investing in their first home. Okay, it is not a second home. It is means out of this 80%, 40% people are purchasing their first home, whether not the second home. Whether it is your first home or second home, it is still purchase of a home. So there is a demand. So that demand has to be met. So that is why this again is not going to invalidate the investment advice. So because there is this again is saying that there will be a demand. So as long as there is a demand which is exceeding the supply, investment advice will be valid. So this also is not going to make the investment advice invalid. Option C, about half of the people who buy homes have to take out a mortgage to do so. Mortgage means loan. So half of the people who are going to purchase homes will be taking a housing loan. Let them take a housing loan. That is not our problem. So as long as they purchase a house, whether they out of their own funds or by taking housing loan, demand would still be there. As long as there is demand which is exceeding the supply, the investment advice will be valid. So not your answer. Option D, only a quarter of the homes that are built are sold within the first 2 weeks. And so it says that the homes are that are built are not sold immediately. See, our question is not talking about investing for 2 weeks or 1 week. It says that investing would be a profitable venture at this time because there is going to be a demand that exceeds supply over the next few years. So here it is talking about the homes not being sold within the first 2 weeks. So whether the homes are not sold or not sold within the first 2 weeks, it is not going to make a difference. As long as the homes are sold within the next few years, the investment advice will be valid. So this is not going to make the investment advice invalid. Option E, only a quarter of those who claim that they want a second home actually end up purchasing one. So what is the problem here? Out of these 80% people who say that they need a second home, only quarter means 20% will actually buy a second home. So if the 20% are going to buy a second home, then this 60% is calculated on 80. So 48 homes are built, whereas 20 people only will be actually purchasing, means the demand will be less than the supply. So 48 homes are built every year, but only 20 homes, even if we assume that all the 20% people are going to purchase the homes the next year itself, there will be only 20 homes needed, whereas 48 homes are already there. So the supply is exceeding the demand. When the supply exceeds the demand, what will happen? There is no scope for further investment. The existing supply is able to take care of the demand. So there is no additional demand. So there is no profit in investing in real estate. So this is an option that invalidates the investment advice, because if this is true, then the investment advice is not valid. You will not be able to make a profit by investing in the real estate. So option E will be your answer. So this is how you need to carefully analyze the passage, then analyze the options. After understanding what is required to be found out, only then you will be able to get the correct answer. So Some questions are complex, some questions are simple, but whether the question is complex or simple, the technique remains the same. You need to understand the passage thoroughly by reading it carefully, without omitting or without ignoring any part of the sentence. Then analyze the options after understanding what is required to be found out, eliminate the options, and then arrive at the correct answer. So I hope you have found the video to be useful. Please like, share, and subscribe. You have found the content useful for your preparation. Your comments and your sharing and subscribing motivates me to come out with further material that will be helpful to you. Thank you. Bye bye.